Introducing the 3-part options course with Hans Albrecht. Get access for free by scanning this QR code or clicking on the link in the description.
I did a little post on Friday after closing the room and taking a look at the key levels because I'm curious, right? I'm really curious. How's this going to work out within volume during Christmas and New Year's? And lots of potential fuel for a rally, but also a lot of headwinds. So one is still the election count on January 6th, but that's not really my focus. Inauguration, January 20th. Typically, we roll higher into the 20th, and then we come back for 100 days. That's the seasonality. But as you know, we also have Santa. And Santa right now, just to remind you, the Santa Claus rally is a very, very strong tradition on Wall Street. And it means it's the last 5 trading days of the year, which would be starting today. And it goes to the first 2 days of New Year's. So this is what is historically very popular. We did not, even in 2018, when we fell 20% from October 3rd into the Christmas Eve massacre when Mnuchin called the banks. We still obviously got supported there because Mnuchin called the banks. So we oftentimes, even after a correction, we've just had a 5%, that's not a big one. We oftentimes do move higher. When we don't move higher, a failure to have a Santa Claus rally has oftentimes preceded bear markets in the upcoming year. So yes, the market is extremely superstitious. You don't have to be. Just kind of use this as a thumb in the air, which way is the wind blowing, and then go with it. Anyway, we have got this seasonality that is right now. For me, it feels very much like chop zone. Really, I'm still clinging to a core bullish outlook as long as we don't close below 58.50. If we close below 58.50, what did I write down here? I've got 57.78 to 53.76. I think I mentioned that last week. I actually said 57.75 to 53.75. So it's the same difference. That's what I'm still looking at. But before we get there, we're a month away from earnings. And by the way, earnings are expected to grow 10 to 15% next year. Whew. Profit margins are expected to continue. Whew. So that's what the bar is high. Now, as it relates to the market we're in, I do have one very interesting chart I want to show you. This BXM did something very unusual toward the end of the close, actually about 2 o'clock. It did a stick figure straight up. Now, if you recall, I've got this 2618 fib level up here. I've got no other way to tell where this is going to peter out or potentially form a reversal pattern. So I'm throwing some Fibonacci on it. Anyway, we're right up into it. We're almost into it. But that was a surprise. Look at that. Boom. So they were glomming on, my best guess anyway, is they're expecting Santa rally. That's basically it. We're still overbought. We haven't rolled over on the weekly, so the trend is still your friend. Keep that in mind. Number 2, we definitely have come back down and gotten bid up, back down, bid up. Overbought member is bullish. But that's not bearish. It has to do something. So this did something. It came back down, and luckily I was focused on breadth and net selling under the surface, so we did catch that, especially with small caps and diamonds. And then I said SPX and Qs would pull down next. They did. And it was very, very sharp reversal on Friday. Quad witching, not a surprise. We got a big spike turnaround on Friday. There's still a lot of work to do though. And we need a macro move to really get it going. But I'm showing you the option move that could really get it going. So options are still the dog that wags the tail. So that was very bullish. And we'll see if that is going to turn out into a fake breakout fast failure, however. If it does, I'm going to be very bearish. But it's hard to be right now. So you'll also notice NVIDIA looks really good. So I put a swing trade on NVIDIA and I posted that. This is another thing I was expecting, SVXY, which is my version of inverse VIX. It's not perfect, but it is still a useful charting tool. Remember I said I was expecting it to come back down to the 100 week? It did, and it shot through it, and I showed that in the trading room live Friday morning with my really bad voice, and I said, hey, it's extended through the Bollinger and the Keltner, which is like so many levels of support right here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of support. The Bollinger Band, the Keltner, the monthly, which is that red, and the 100 week. It should come back in, and it did. So that Friday was this, right? Very, very sharp reversal. It worked really well. I can see it potentially getting back up here, but then I'm still not very, very bullish the market next year. I think you know that. So I would expect it to peter out up here and then give us some more volatility. I did do a little bit of intermarket big picture. I can show it with you later after the market gets going, but I just wanted to kind of show you this and explain this because I posted this on Friday. And that is this cumulative 4-week new high, new low. And I've been talking about this on a weekly evening star reversal gap. And yes, it did. It filled the gap and then it got inside the Keltner, pushed the 10-week lower right back all the way to the September, pushed through the 21-week all the way to the 30-week. And I said, this is strong support. It hasn't been here since, I don't even remember, but I remember we reviewed it live. Anyway, that was the waterfall. That was an absolute waterfall. And it's really, look at this. Look how in trend it has been. And it's just now starting to think about rolling over. Usually it snaps back and then later rolls over. It's not one and done. This is a huge bearish sentiment tell of weakness under the surface. So don't underestimate this, but it's also the beginning of the trend reversal. Repeat, it's the beginning of a trend reversal. It isn't the trend reversal. We could go another quarter, another 3 months, which is like a lot of weeks. So anyway, the point is this was absolutely value crushed. So value crush should have a reflexive bounce. The mean is like way to heck up here. And this is literally warning on Monday. We crashed from oversold, not overbought. And that's exactly what happened. So I just wanted to kind of identify the green shoot, which is the BXM, also the Santa rally, and also the fact that this I consider a bearish, but on watch for reversal higher outlier chart in this waterfall cascade cumulative flow indicator. So green shoots. That's all I wanted to do. And then we've got Dan Niles. I'm like, why did I put this? Okay, so cyclical versus non-cyclical. Just wanted to kind of talk about that since we've had such a big value crush that it wouldn't surprise at some point we do get the concentration risk to come back down. That's not the case right now. We only had 1 day. And then we have value go back up, like I showed you in July. And here is the growth value rotation. It is holding this 220. Translation, they're hiding out in Apple and Tesla, oh my, right? And all that. However, it is starting to come into an area of overbought. You'll see it. It'll start to see this little line here. It'll start to kind of hang out and then dip. And what we're looking for is a rollover down here by 0. So MACD starts to come back down. What happened then? Mag 7 fell apart. Now, yes, we had the yen carry trade unwind, and I mentioned earlier, I don't think we're going to have that risk again until at least end of January. So for right now, this summer melt up in growth is happening and it's still in play. It hasn't peaked and it hasn't rolled over. So that's all. We have a few green shoots, but let me show you some areas of concern, right? And the green shoots, just to re-emphasize, is the fact that options are getting extremely excited about a Santa rally, and we are extremely oversold in this value crush. That's all I got for green shoots so far. Now, I did my stock bond volatility ratio, and this is still intonating. Intonating doesn't mean it's firing like we had in July. In July, we had a very strong move, as you know, into 65. And during that move in July and August, by the way, value took off higher and concentration took off lower. We're not there yet. We're still moving higher in growth. Semis, etc., Tesla, etc. They're still holding the market up from falling down. I don't have a reversal yet. Now, VIX, however, is still intonating, hasn't even gotten above the 0 mark. 0 is bullish. 0 is bullish. This is all very interesting right now. It shows solid support, but it's not moving. We had that shake and bake FOMC into Thursday, and then of course Friday the reflexive bounce. And I can look at it at different time frames. It is ironical. I'm just kidding. It's ironic that we have a little support area down here on this trend line, but I don't have anything. This is the same. It just adds a little bit different level. It's just still intonating. What I find really interesting, wicked, is it took a year for NYSE to finally show weakness under the surface. So back here, this is so interesting to me. Back here, if you recall, first of all, from August, September, October, we had selling in summer of 2023. I'm not talking 2024. And then we had November 1st, Fed pause and Yellen Yahtzee, boom. And we took off higher. And then in November 21st, 2023, this indicator got above, and this is NYSE, this is like, we're in rally mode, and stayed above for an entire year. Look at that. November 21st, 2023 into December 20th, 2024, and then we finally got below the zero. So we're going to have more volatility in the new year, is what that tells me. We had one big volatility surge in the past year. That was the yen carry trade unwind because of concentration risk unwind. Into August 5th, convexity unwind. Long story short, this, when we get in below zero, means we get more bursts of smaller volatility, more waves of it. Not the one and done, but the more erratic market. So we've left a market of relative stability for a market of instability.
Join Club today to engage with Samantha and her team of 10 experts. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description. Subscribe to LaDuc Trading YouTube channel for more live trading room recap videos and other content.